It's Margaret's revenge. It's the fires of Margaret. She's come back. Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Richard, I'm with Everlasting Gaming, and welcome back to Lake of Voices. Things keep getting crazier. We already lost Margaret, she's dead, she's gone, we'll never see her again. And now we have this guy mumbling in the middle of the bridge. What else could happen? And of course the guy was no help the entire time, so it's just like, well, let's just keep going and let's just dive right in and let's just see what else happens. Who knows, maybe we'll survive this somehow. So, mysterious stranger. I'm sorry. I just couldn't. Please, I'm sorry. I'm struck with an array of questions. What is going on? Why would he wander out onto these bridges on his own? Did he make it this far by himself? Were there others with him? If that's somehow the case, I can't blame him for the state of shock he's in. Of course not. There's some crazy things out here. The man stops mumbling. He glances above him, seemingly only just now having the strength to lift his head. His expression, the deepest sadness, along with the clear markings of terror, are scrawled across his face. I stare at him in shock, not sure what to do. Poke.
Leave him.
You're the worst. You're no help at all. I snap my eyes away from the man and instead to the guide's cold, implacable face. No, we can't just leave him here. We've managed to find enough already, and these creatures will probably pluck him away as soon as we've gone. Without light, it's certain he'll die.
He won't make it regardless.
The guide turns to look at us, his eyes seeming to glow from the closest end of his lantern. For the first time, I feel uncomfortable in his presence. He really just doesn't care, does he?
Whoever shelters him will only risk dragging themselves down with him. Leave him.
I glance at my partner, but Melee is outraged. I'm trying to think of some kind of compromise when the guide speaks again, his voice cutting.
If the man comes, then whoever is shielding him will have to remain at a distance from the rest of the group. Far enough that you can't see me, just my light. That is how you will travel across the bridges.
Wow.
I didn't agree to lead this man, and I won't. If you ask me to, I will leave you all behind.
Can we just push him? Can we just push him and just steal his stick lantern thing? We'll be fine. We don't need him at this point. What good has he really done for us? Adrenaline surges through my veins and I tense up. It's a painful reminder that the guide isn't here to save our lives, but merely to show us the way. We're on our own. Yeah, no shit. Melee and I are frantically sharing more looks between each other, trying to communicate without words. Neither of us have a desire to speak and be the first to make a choice. The man is standing now, though still hunched with his arms wrapped around himself as if expecting a blow. He stares at the ground rather than at us. Because of this, I'm having trouble reading his face. What exactly happened to him? He looks like he's kind of built, so hey, if we run into one of these, prowler things, and just bam, right to the face. We could probably use it. Are you well, stranger? Do you know where you are, and why you're here? He glances up, not at me, but towards me. Excuse me, just had a huge thing of soda. His eyes resting somewhere near my collarbone. I'm fine. You all can go on your way. Forget you even saw me here. That's absurd. You have no way to defend yourself. We can't leave you. Yes, I'm sure in your eyes I might not seem like much, but that's not exactly a fair shake. Maybe in a perfect world, every man would be as large as you. That's not how things always go. It doesn't mean I'm defenseless. The man's response is Mandarin. The words themselves seem to be in good jest, but he's still barely looking at us, fidgeting with his hands. Melee frowns, unimpressed. It was a joke. Perfect time for a joke, man. He smiles hesitantly, making eye contact with each of us for the first time. What part of it was supposed to be a joke? Do you even realize what is happening in this moment? Yeah. Never mind, forget that too. The point is, I'm alright. You have found yourself out alone and unlit on Sinlopes. Exactly. Something must be wrong with you. Jeez. Oh no, sounds like you've been talking with my father. He lets out a weak little laugh coupled with an eyebrow raise, voice trembling. No one really knows what to make of this. He's kind of a sarcastic one. He could probably use some humor in all this insanity. The man gives a small wave and begins down the path we came. Mele huffs, tossing his hands into the air. I'm just imagining doing that. The sword just flies out of the hilt right into the water. That's not even the right way. It is for me. Oh. You must have come quite a ways if that was the other shore that you started on. The man's smile grows. Good. That's not so bad. There is no response to this remark, unsure of what could be said. I still think he should come with us. A person needs a light, and the guide himself said he won't be able to manage on his own. Sticking with us is his best option. I look over to the man's body, noting the scrawniness of his limbs. He looks pretty built to me. Scrawny, but not necessarily lacking in muscle, see? The bravado he was showing as he tried to leave us has faded yet again, and now he's standing quietly, looking at us as if watching a play. Interest, but no connection to the event. It's easy for you to say such things, but whose light are you offering? It's not mine, and you are putting her in even more danger with your own presence already. Mele's hands turn into fists. He looks away but doesn't say anything. For a moment, no one does. I thought he was going to punch the guide for a minute. I feel a cold sweat on my brow, as what I feared comes to pass. He's stopping us from protecting another. Why must he get involved now? Why can't he not leave us to make our own decisions? You're damn right. When we needed him, he didn't do jack. Nothing. You... Don't worry about me. I'll be on my way now. The man's voice is full of something I cannot place, and he starts to shuffle back down the way he came, arms still clenched around himself. I know the guide wants us to act as though there is no option. However, I could stay back with him. It'll put Mele and myself at significantly more risk, but at least this man will stand a chance. Oh, if I have to pick, I feel it coming. I can't leave the guy alone. I'll wonder. It'll make me wonder. I'm either going to stay with him or take him with us, depending. Yeah, I gotta take him with us. I'm sorry. I'm curious. I gotta know. I straighten my arm out like a rod, blocking his progress past me. He stops, perplexed. Oh, now I'm alone with this guy. I'm not afraid to stay behind as long as Mele can remain up front with you, in your light. The guy doesn't say anything, doesn't even blink. Mele smiles sadly at me. Oh, one can always count on you, Kika. Okay, I thought I hurt his feelings for a minute. Like, the love we had, it's gone. No more love. The man, meanwhile, stands with his mouth agape, truly and genuinely shocked. Well, what will it be? That is fine by me. I can stay on the fringes of your light. That way you won't have to worry about a repeat of what happened earlier. Poor Margaret, she's just with the angels now. The guide doesn't acknowledge him. He stares at the stranger. The man shakes under the attention. No, really. I could just go on my own. It's fine. How about a name? A name would be great. I step closer to him, lending the support he seems to desperately need. Getting awkwardly close as I might tell me your name, stranger. I must know, with your awesome biceps and your strange-looking bracelet. You do not need to go this alone. I will protect you. The man stares at me. I return his gaze, willing him to see my certainty. There need be no more blood spilled tonight. Slowly, the fear melts off his face, replaced with something like resignation. Then he drops his gaze to the floor. Okay. All right. I grasp his shoulder and turn to the rest of the group. You should get a head start, correct? You'll have to put some distance between us. The guide seems to agree as he starts to walk away without another word. Mele smiles, first at the stranger, then at me. Take care back here, all right? We'll be together again when we reach the halfway island. It won't be too much longer now. I kind of love how nobody's just mentioning Margaret at this point. He's like, we're over it. We'll have a nice little camp out and you can probably introduce yourself to us. Maybe even tell a real joke or two. Ouch. The man emits a nervous little laugh and ducks his head. The prospect must not be enticing to him. With the stranger having pulled himself out of the conversation, Mele looks seriously at me. I'm sorry to put you in even more... Stop. Mele shakes his head, still smiling. I don't begrudge you at all. In fact, I'm glad you did. All I want for you is to remember that goal. Each of us together on that island. And then on the other side Yeah. And then on the other shore, safe. This isn't about what our job is or where other people needs us to be. I nod in response. Bameli opens his mouth and closes it. He swallows hard. You too. I'm surprised to hear his voice wavering slightly. He swallows again, then continues. You two should look out for each other. I can tell we're hurting his feelings. He takes a step back as if to go, but his eyes don't leave mine. He's worried. That's so sweet. Oh, we got really close out of nowhere. He hesitates for a moment, then he crosses back to me and puts a hand on my shoulder. He smiles at me, a smile full of pride and nervousness and fear. I smile back, doing my best to communicate my gratitude and my resolve. I can't tell whether he understands. He softly glides his hand down the width of my arm before moving away for good. That's an interesting goodbye, just like, I'll miss you so much, Kika. The guide's figure disappears with only his lantern to lead the way. Bameli is finally forced to leave us behind and catch up with him. I watch him disappear into the fog, an odd feeling in the pit of my stomach. I cannot recall the last time I had difficulty seeing someone leave.
You should go after them.
Hey, he has a voice. See, I couldn't have left him here. I would have felt terrible. But I get the feeling I'm going to regret this. Because I don't know him. He's a stranger. I start. I almost forgot the man was there, standing right next to me. First, he looks at me with desperate eyes.
You don't need to do this.
Got him too late now, buddy.
What?
I'd rather know you returned to them safe, and that you all had a chance to make it back together. The way they acted, having to go on without you, no one would feel that way for me. I'm not worth it.
I just want to say the voice acting in this is pretty good. And the little bits and pieces that we get, the emotion is really there.
That's not...
I stop, unable to say the last word. Can I claim that he's wrong? This is the one thing he has seemed sure of, and I do not know him. Empty platitudes may be worse than nothing at all. He smirks at my mumbling reply. I'm caught off guard by the change. With only that, it seems he's in his element.
It's true.
He continues to grin, more so to himself than me.
You lot certainly made a scene, huh? That's nice. Being loved and all.
He clarifies after I must have given him an undesired reaction to the statement. I am so disconnected with myself. I am unsure if surprise appeared on my face, or if it was a lack of emotion that put him off.
I don't know exactly what kind of love it is you share, but there has to be a bond in that group of yours.
Oh yeah, with everybody except for Margaret. Margaret, we just don't care. She's gone forever. I mean, especially with the big one. I couldn't help but notice those manly big biceps and chest muscles. That must be love. You wouldn't look at anyone like that. He laughs and then speaks quietly. He's super bipolar. He's like so depressed and blaming himself, and he's joking, then he's depressed again. It's interesting. It doesn't matter. I can still try for the other shore. Go. Nope. We made it this far. I'm staying. My certainty shocks him. I can tell immediately he has returned to his meeker self. The man starts to speak again, but I interrupt. We should start walking. That should be enough of a head start for them. He hesitates a moment, but ultimately begins walking at my side. I'm relieved. I can never be quite sure what will come from this one. We move in silence. The man doesn't seem to want to speak anymore, but he keeps glancing at me, as if expecting something. A name would be nice, buddy. Something. Somehow, his odd behavior is comforting rather than disconcerting. Perhaps it's because he's more nervous about all this than I am. It's putting me at ease, making me feel more capable. I shouldn't allow myself to get comfortable, however. We're in a more dangerous position than ever. Yeah, we really are. The whispering from the lake, so faint after Bameli's close call, now surges forth. It grows nigh unbearable. The creatures teeming below the surface. I dare not speculate on what has them so excited. Have you a name? There we go. Finally. The man chuckles drearily. Barely. don't really know what I am to take from that. This time his laugh is more of a bark, quickly out and swallowed back up. Then he frowns. Lou. Only 2 letters. So barely. I see. This kid has a sense of humor. What are you doing out here without the guide? Perhaps the question isn't appropriate to ask. After all, only the darkest of circumstances burst someone to cross Sinlos. But this situation is very strange. I might even go so far as to say it's suspicious. I know that's not fair, but I can't help it. Years spent anticipating danger have made me weary. That's a good question. I'm not sure I know myself. What does that mean? Is that some sort of joke too? Or do you genuinely not remember how you arrived where you are? No, it wasn't a joke. Or, well, there is a point to it all. Then his voice, already by nature light and airy, drops to a whisper. But I don't know why I even tried. You think that I'd be able to call a spade already, right? He looks up, noticing my gaze still leveled at him. Then he shrugs. I'd rather not talk about it. As what has become the norm, I don't fully understand what he means, but I can at least guess that he's not very happy with himself at present, and like it or not, he won't be sharing his real reasons with me. What about you? What brings you out on this little adventure? People. On the other side. People who need my help. You have someone waiting for you? And why are you risking yourself on me instead of worrying about what's going to happen to them? I feel my brows furrow from my speck of alarm. Is that really what he took from this? I survey his face with a flick of my eyes, but there is no mischievous gleam to his look now. He's serious. We hold eye contact for a moment, until yet again he stares down at the ground. Sorry, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. It just fell out somehow. I wasn't thinking. You're very important as well. Everybody's important. His stare shoots back up at me, eyes wide. Of course I'm going to be there for those counting on me, but you are nothing. I won't simply turn my back on you. He smiles sadly, the kind of smile only someone who experienced great hardship has, a smile I'm all too familiar with. I probably have to disagree. Still, that's nice of you to say. We may not know each other well, but you wanted us to go on without you for our own safety. You even tried to have a sense of humor about it. That counts for something. My statement is far from grand, yet he becomes distinctly bashful all of a sudden, twitching his legs with each step. He hangs his head and mumbles his next phrase. Sadly, he seems unaccustomed to receiving praise. That's true. Thank you for staying back with me. It's kind of nice. No, dude, that's really nice. Like, I abandoned everybody. That was like 2 lanterns I could have had. No need to thank me. Oh, right. I can't even show gratitude correctly. Of course. Wow, he's like... Okay, I thought he was being serious. I'm like, man, he's just super bipolar. I go to give him a look, but he's smiling. He looks less pitiful than usual. He almost seems content. While crossing Sinlos? How? Why? Hey, they say laughter is the best medicine, even in the worst of situations. It's not funny to make a joke out of thinking that way about yourself. If you don't want people to say things like that, then you shouldn't reject their thanks. Either I did right by thanking you, or I did wrong. Fine, you're welcome. This time he lets out a real laugh, though a short one. I'm glad. He stretches his arms out in front of him, elongates his stride so he's walking a bit ahead of me. It's what's wrong with me. He's relaxed and completely unguarded. He's even fine with distancing himself from the light. And all the odd comments he has said so far? Then a thought strikes me. Maybe the reason he's so calm is that he doesn't care what happens to him. My heart plummets into my gut. For a time, there is a relative pace in the silence between us. Then Lou sighs heavily. I never could have seen myself in a situation like this. It seems things really aren't over until they're over. Did you think it was over? He doesn't answer immediately. When he does, the reply is accompanied by him grasping himself, like he might fall apart if he lets go. Yeah, I did. That would have been the normal outcome for his situation. Alone, lightless. I shouldn't have asked. I must have let a frown slip through, though, because Lou smiles a non-smile. He stretches his hand behind his neck and gives a little chuckle. can't talk today. Sorry about that. Something really is wrong with me. Somehow, I feel lighter. Alright, well maybe this is good. If he's feeling better than he was, then perhaps his view of himself will improve.
I wonder who'll still be left standing when this is truly all over.
Not Margaret. Margaret's dead, and I gotta stop saying that. We're gonna leave Margaret. We'll leave her alone. What?
Everyone will be.
Except Margaret. Okay, one more time. I couldn't help. I say it firmly to end the discussion, but Lou's expression grows grave and unusually sympathetic.
You know that's not possible, don't you? Someone will go. You should focus on making sure it's someone else.
So sacrificial, man.
You don't seem to be concerned with self-preservation.
That came out more hostile than I had expected. He doesn't mind it.
True, but it's not the same for me.
I still don't know how I'm supposed to interact with a person like him. Making conversation is already not a strength I possess. Regardless, Lou, echoing that sentiment, was not something I had expected. The whispers from the lake, which had already grown, now speak faster and clearer. The individual words are not audible. I'd likely be able to make them out if I knew the mixed language. For a split second, I wish I did. The light in the distance still drifts along in the same manner as it did when we first started walking, which I take to mean the path hasn't turned so far. Hopefully that means we're still on the right path. But the light, it got brighter. It's strong enough that I have to glance away for a second, and the next time I look, the light has grown. The bridge is on fire. Oh no! I grab Lou's arm without thinking. He's standing there stiff, staring at the glow, eyes dull. We're going to run. To hell with the guide's order. If we don't go now, we'll never go anywhere again. Lou doesn't respond. I give his arm a small tug, and he appears to come to himself when he nods at me. I make the decision then that I won't let go of his arm. I don't know what'll happen to him if I do. We take off, the heat growing with each step. The dankness of the bridge means the fire is spreading slowly, but it makes me question how it began in the first place. There is no end to how wrong this place is. It takes 20 paces before the air around us ripples and starts folding into itself. Thick smoke pours over us, stinging like scorpions at my eyes. Who knew it was possible to start a fire in the middle of a lake and have it spread? I mean, obviously you have the bridge, but there's water everywhere. Use a little bit of it. Oh man. I cover my mouth with my free arm to keep breathing, and soon we're at the fire itself. The bridge lurches beneath us as if the beams supporting it are starting to give way to the thousands of flying sparks. Lou stumbles and pulls against me for support, but we keep our ground. I start pulling him through the blaze. We don't have time to gather our bearings. Who knows how long we'll have until the bridge collapses, or is devoured by flames. We continue weaving across the bridges, shielding ourselves from the heat. I can see a faint figure in the distance through the smoke. As we draw closer, I realize it's Bamele coming our way. I press on to meet him, towing Lou alongside me. Bamele is absolutely beaming when he notices us, and I can't help but match the look of relief on his face as I approach him. It's Margaret's revenge! It's the fires of Margaret! She's come back! Bamele, what happened? I take a moment to steady my breathing after getting the most pressing question on my mind out. A group of prowlers were in our path. His solution to that was throwing an open flame at the damned monsters. He knew he'd be setting the entire place ablaze. It didn't matter. This guide is causing more problems than he's actually helping with. Did the guy leave you behind, or is he gone? I begin tersely at first, but as I speak I can't help the worry leaking into my voice. The guide is not a man you need to worry about out here. I choose to stay back. There is plenty of light to go around, thanks to him. Okay, that's an interesting answer. I get the feeling that he probably killed the guide. I balk at him. That is not a plan, Bamele. You need a lantern to make it. What if we didn't find each other? Do you realize how easily you could have gotten yourself killed? The statement comes out shrilly as I clench my fists in frustration. Bamele mirrors my anger as he barks back at me. I've seen what happens to those left to catch up, Kika. They don't. I wasn't going to keep running this time and leave you behind. Swallowing my retort, I close my mouth and look at him solemnly. After a moment, I sigh. This isn't a time for a discussion, and after what Margaret went through, I can't blame him for the conclusion he came to. Suddenly, the then began to quake once more beneath our feet. The bridges then began to quake. Okay. We need to leave. Which way did the guide go? I don't know for sure. No, he went off in that direction. The fog overtook him, but I didn't see him turn. That will work. Lou, we can't stay here. I look around for him, realizing he's not with me any longer. At some point, I let go of his arm. You had one job, Kika. Never to let go. Didn't work out for Rose and Titanic, and it's not working here. There he is. He's standing to the side, gaze glazed, transfixed in the darkness. I step forward and yank him back to my side. What are you doing? He flinches at the unexpected contact and looks attentively at me, but he doesn't offer an explanation. I'm sorry. That's all he ever says. I let go of him. Both of you stay close. We are not going to separate again. What? No. Wow. That was so anticlimactic. Seriously. Well, the fires of rage from Margaret have consumed this game and ended it for us, and it's been just... wow. That was pretty good. I mean, the environment was wonderful, the art is beautiful, the music is great. I mean, you can't go wrong with the piano. I liked it. This was a great game. When it comes to most visual novels, you usually see a lot of just straight up, just nothing but reading. You don't really get immersed into it, but this was one in its own. It was one of a kind. I liked it a lot. I haven't seen too many horror visual novels, so this is very refreshing. So I want to know what you guys think. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys not enjoy it? I want you to tell me in the comments below. Hey, you guys, you know what? This has been fun. I look forward to posting these videos for you every day. We're always finding new and interesting content, and that's what we do at Everlasting Gaming. Every day we have new and exciting content. I post videos every day, and I look forward to it every day. It's awesome. We get to experience awesome things like this together, and the fires of rage of Margaret and all that, and all these crazy prowlers and everything. This was a blast. Hey, alright you guys, well, I think that's all we got here for today. If you guys want to try out Lake of Voices for yourself, I'm going to leave a link in the description below, so you can go ahead and check it out. If you want to see more games just like this, like I said, I post videos every day. Make sure to subscribe below. Also tap that little bell down there, so that way every time I post something new, you get a notification. Alright you guys, hey, it's been fun. As always, this is Richard with Everlasting Gaming. Have a good night.